Usually, when you walk into a museum and look at a painting on the wall, what do you see?
Well, you see the paint, right?
Yeah, you see the bright colors, you see the interesting shapes.
Right.
Maybe you see a picture of a beautiful, tall mountain, or, a quiet river, or a smiling person. And, immediately that someone painted it.
Exactly. I mean, it is a very simple rule of human logic. A painting needs a painter. A beautiful picture cannot just make itself.
Right. You do not stand there and think the painting just appeared from nothing out of thin air.
No, of course not.
And you also do not look for the painter hiding inside the wet paint. That would be really silly.
Very silly. The painter is completely separate from the painting. So the painter used his hands to make the canvas and mix the colors, but the painter himself is not made of canvas. He is not made of paint. He is outside of his creation.
Right. But when you step out of the museum and you walk into the world of faith and religion, people start asking very big, heavy questions.
They do. They look at the stars, and the trees and the ocean.
Yeah. And they ask, where's the painter of our universe? Who is he? What does he look like?
And suddenly things are not so simple anymore.
Not at all. We are looking at a very big, very deep mystery.
It is the absolute definition of a mystery. I mean, we are human beings, right? We have very small, limited minds. And we are trying to use those small minds to understand something that has no limits at all.
Which brings us to what we are doing today. Welcome to our deep dive. Today, we have a big stack of fascinating sources in front of us.
We have quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, we have articles from thick religious encyclopedias. We have history books. We even have simple guides written for children. And they are all trying to answer one big question.
Who is Allah?
Exactly. Who is Allah?
It is a word spoken by over 1 billion people every single day.
1 billion people. That is a lot.
It is. People say it when they wake up in the morning. They say it when they pray. They whisper it when they are afraid. And they shout it when they are happy.
But understanding what it truly means can feel like a very big task. The ideas are very deep.
Yes, very deep.
And that is our mission for you today. If you are listening to this right now, we are going to look at these deep ideas, but we are going to talk about them using clear, simple, everyday English.
That is the goal.
Right. We want everyone listening, no matter where you are from or how much English you know, to easily follow along. We want you to enjoy the journey with us.
That is a wonderful goal. So let's set the stage for you, the listener. Let's start with the word itself.
Okay, let's unpack this. Isn't Allah just the Arabic word for God?
Well,
I mean, for example, if you go to Spain, the word for God is Dios. If you go to France, the word is Dieu. Is Allah just another translation on a dictionary page?
that is a very natural question to ask. And yes, on a very basic level, it is the Arabic word for God.
Okay.
If you travel to the Middle East today, you will find Christian people and Jewish people who speak the Arabic language.
Right.
And when they read their holy books, like the Bible, in Arabic, they use the word Allah to pray to God.
Okay, so it really is just a language thing. It is just a word.
Well, yes and no. It is the Arabic word. But the Islamic concept of Allah, the way Muslims understand the rules behind this specific word, is very unique.
How so?
The sources we have today show us that the Islamic idea of the creator has very strict rules that make it different from other religions.
Oh, okay. Here is where it gets really interesting. Let's look closely at where the word comes from, like the history of the letters.
Right. The texts explain that the word Allah comes from 2 smaller Arabic words pushed together.
Okay, what are they?
The first word is al. In English, al simply means the. And the second word is ilah. This means God with a small letter G. It means anything that people worship.
So when you put them together, Allah becomes Allah.
Exactly. It simply translates to the God. Not just a God, but the one and only God.
I want to stop here for a second and ask about a rumor I read.
Okay, sure.
Some people say the word Allah actually comes from the name of an old stone statue.
Yeah.
Like an idol that people used to pray to in the desert a long time ago.
Oh, I know what you were talking about.
I think the name of the idol was Alat. Is that true? Did the name of God come from a statue?
No, that is completely false. The historical sources are very clear about this. The word Allah does not come from the pagan idol Alat.
Okay, so that is just a myth.
Yes, that is a common mistake or a myth. Allah is a very old, special word. It was always used by Arabic speakers to mean the supreme creator of the universe long before any of those statues were ever made.
Good to know. So let's talk about the grammar of the word, because our sources say the Arabic grammar is what makes the word so special.
It really is.
Let's think about the English word God. In English, you can play with the word. You can change it.
Right.
You can add an S at the end and make it plural. You can say gods.
Yes, like the old stories of many gods living on a mountain.
Exactly. And in English, you can also change the word to make it female. You can say goddess.
True.
You can even add words to it, like godfather or godchild. The English word is very flexible.
But in the Arabic language, the word Allah is not flexible at all. It is like a solid rock.
A solid rock. I like that.
It has no plural. You cannot add an S. You cannot say Allahs. It is grammatically impossible.
Wow. And what about gender?
It has no gender. There is no male Allah and no female Allah.
That is fascinating.
The word itself is designed by the rules of the language to mean only one thing, the one and only. You cannot change it, divide it, or multiply it.
So the actual grammar of the language protects the meaning of the word. You cannot even speak about many gods using that specific word.
Right. It is built into the language itself. And this strict idea of one brings us to a very important piece of paper in our stack today.
Oh, the chapter from the Quran.
Yes. It is a very short chapter from the Muslim holy book, the Quran. It is chapter 112. The Arabic name for this chapter is Surah Al-Ikhlas.
I spent a lot of time reading the children's guide in our stack, and the guide talks about this chapter a lot.
It is central to the faith.
It says this short chapter is so important it acts like a summary for the entire religion of Islam. And it is only 4 short lines long. How can 4 lines hold a whole religion?
Because those 4 lines answer the biggest questions a human can ask. Let us break down this chapter into very simple English for you, the listener.
Yes, let's do that.
The first line says, He is Allah, who is one.
Okay. That is easy enough. There is only one God. What is the second line?
The second line uses a very special Arabic word. The word is as-samad.
As-samad. What does that mean?
It means he is the eternal rock. It means he is the perfect master who needs absolutely nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nothing, but every single person and thing in the universe needs him to survive.
Let me make sure I understand this clearly. Let's use human beings as an example.
Okay, good idea.
I am a human. I need many things. I need to eat food or my stomach hurts. I need to drink water or my throat gets dry.
Yes.
I need to sleep at night because my eyes get heavy and my brain gets tired. I mean, I need air to breathe every few seconds.
Exactly. You are a human, which means you are weak. You are built with needs. If you do not get those things, you will die.
But the word as-samad means Allah does not need food. He does not get hungry. He does not need sleep. He does not get tired. He does not need a house or air. He needs 0 things, but I need him to give me the food, the water, and the air.
That is exactly what it means. He is the provider of all needs, but he is free of all needs.
That is a big idea.
It is. Now, let's look at the third line in the chapter. It says, he does not have children, and he was not born.
This is very direct. So he has no sons, no daughters.
Right.
And he has no mother, no father, and no grandparents.
Correct. And the fourth final line of the chapter says, and there is nothing like him.
Nothing is like him.
Nothing in the whole universe can be compared to him.
So what does this all mean? Why did the Quran give this specific, highly detailed chapter to the people?
What's fascinating here is the historical story behind it.
Oh, tell me the story.
A long time ago, people living in the desert came to the Prophet Muhammad. Now, these people prayed to many different statues.
Okay.
And they wanted to know about his God. They said to Muhammad, give us the family tree of your Lord.
The family tree, like who is the father and who is the grandfather?
Yes, exactly. They were used to the old stories. Think about the old Greek or Roman stories. A powerful god marries a beautiful goddess. They have a baby god. That baby god grows up and fights his uncle god, you know?
Yeah. They thought of gods like a big, magic human family.
Exactly. So this short chapter was given as the final answer to their question. God does not have a family tree.
Because he is the beginning.
Yes. You cannot draw a family tree for Allah because he is the beginning of everything. He was always there. He was never born, so there is no start date. He will never die, so there is no end date.
I love how simple and powerful this is. It acts like a filter for your brain.
A filter? Tell me what you mean by that.
Well, imagine you have a mental filter. You take an idea about God and you try to push it through the filter.
Okay, I am picturing it.
If the idea says God was born on a specific day, it gets stuck in the filter. It does not pass through. It is not a law.
Right.
If the idea says God needs to eat food or he needs to rest on the 7th day, it gets stuck in the filter. It is not a law.
Very true.
If the idea says God has a child, it gets stuck. It keeps the picture of God perfectly clean and pure.
That is a brilliant way to think about it. The chapter is a filter to stop human beings from making God look like a human.
But, this makes me think of a new problem.
What is the problem?
Well, if Allah is so completely different from us, if he has no family, if he needs no food, if he is totally outside of time and nothing is like him, how do we get to know him? He sounds very far away. He sounds like a cold, invisible math equation.
Yeah.
How can a person feel close to something they cannot see and cannot compare to anything else?
That is a very natural and beautiful question. If he is so high up and so different, how do we build a relationship with him?
Yeah.
The sources give us a very clear answer. We bridge the gap by learning his names.
The names. Let's dive deep into this. How many names does he have?
According to Islamic tradition, Allah has 99 beautiful names.
99.
Yes. These names are like windows. They let us look at his character. They do not tell us what he looks like, but they tell us what he does. They tell us how he acts towards us, his creation.
I read in one of the fiqh encyclopedias that there are actually many more names than 99. The article said the number is in the thousands.
Yes, that is true. The deep religious tradition says there are actually 4,000 names.
4,000. Where are they all hidden?
They are broken down into groups. 1,000 of those names are known only to Allah himself. No human mind is big enough to ever understand them.
Okay, that makes sense.
Another 1,000 names are known only to the angels who live in the unseen world.
Wow.
1,000 names were written in past holy books that were given to older prophets, like the Torah given to Moses, the Psalms given to David, and the Gospel given to Jesus.
So that is 3,000.
And finally, there are 100 names mentioned in the Quran. That is the 99 beautiful names that people learn, plus one special hidden name.
Okay, let's focus on the 99 names that regular people can read and learn. Our sources divide these names into two main categories to make them easier to understand.
Yes, they do.
They call them names of beauty and names of majesty. Let's explore the names of beauty first. What do they sound like?
Names of beauty describe God's soft, gentle, kind, and warm actions. For example, there is the name Ar-Rahman.
Ar-Rahman.
Yes. This translates to the most merciful.
What does that mean in everyday life?
Well, it means he has a deep, endless kindness for every single thing he created.
For everyone.
Yes. When you wake up, when you see a beautiful sunrise, when you take a deep breath of fresh air without feeling pain, you are experiencing the mercy of Ar-Rahman. He gives good things to everyone, even to people who do not believe in him.
That is very generous. What is another name of beauty?
Another beautiful name is Al-Wadud. This translates to the loving.
The loving.
But it is not a distant, cold love. It is a very warm, personal kind of love. The religious texts say that the Creator loves his creation much more than a human mother loves her newborn baby.
Wow. A mother's love for her baby is the strongest, fiercest thing we know on earth. A mother will jump into a fire to save her baby.
Exactly.
And the texts say God's love is even greater and deeper than that.
Yes. It is meant to make you feel deeply cared for. And there is another very important name, Al-Ghaffar.
What does that mean?
This means the forgiving.
We humans need that one a lot. We make mistakes every single day. We say angry words, we lie, we hurt our friends' feelings. We are weak.
We are very weak. But Al-Ghaffar means he is always, always ready to wipe the mistake away, completely clean, if you just turn to him and ask. You do not run out of chances.
Those names sound very comforting. They make you feel safe, like you are resting in good hands.
They do.
But a complete picture cannot just be soft. The texts also talk about names of majesty. What are those?
Names of majesty describe God's absolute power, his perfect justice, and his greatness.
So these are not soft.
No, these names are not meant to make you feel warm. They're meant to make you feel deep respect, awe, and maybe a little bit of healthy fear.
Give me an example.
For example, the name Al-Malik.
The king.
Yes, but not a king of a small country who sits on a gold chair. He is the true king of the whole universe. Every star, every black hole, every ocean, and every mountain belongs to him. He is the boss of reality.
And a king has to have power to protect his kingdom. What are the other names of majesty?
There is Al-Qahar. This translates to the subduer.
The subduer. What does that do?
It means he has the ultimate perfect power to defeat any enemy. A bad person can think they are very strong on earth, but nothing can fight against Al-Qahar and win.
Wow.
And there is Al-Qawway, the strong. He has limitless strength. He never struggles.
Okay, so let's connect this to the everyday life of a listener. If you are listening, you might wonder, why do I need to know all these different names?
Yeah.
Why not just say God and leave it at that? Why memorize 99 titles?
Because learning the names completely changes how a person prays.
Really? So
It gives you a vocabulary to talk to God. When a Muslim talks to the Creator, they choose a specific name based on what they're feeling or what they need in that exact moment.
Oh, I see. So if I did something really bad yesterday, let's say I stole something, and I feel a heavy, dark weight of guilt in my chest.
Right.
I want to say, I am sorry. I do not call upon the king or the subduer. I would call upon Al-Ghafar, the forgiving.
Exactly. You would raise your hands and say, "Oh, forgiving one, please wash away my dark mistake."
Yeah.
You are connecting your specific human problem to his specific divine character.
Okay, what if I have a different problem? What if I lose my job?
That is a tough one.
I have a family to feed, the refrigerator's empty, my children are hungry, and I have no money in the bank. What name do I use then?
Then you would look for a different name. You would call upon Ar-Razak.
A Razak.
Yes. This name means the provider, the one who sends down food, money, and resources. You would say, "Oh, provider, please open a door for me and give me food for my children."
But wait, let me ask a beginner's question here.
Go ahead.
If he has 99 names, doesn't that make it confusing? If I pray to the forgiver today and the provider tomorrow, is it like I am praying to 99 different gods?
Not at all. Let me use a very simple analogy for you.
I love analogies.
Think about yourself, your own life. To your mother and father, you are a child.
Right.
To your school teacher, you are a student. To your best friend, you are a helper. To your dog, you are the food giver.
Okay, I have many different titles depending on who I am talking to.
Yes, you have many different titles and you do many different actions, but you are still just one single person. You do not break into four people.
That makes perfect sense. I am one person, but my actions change. Allah is one, but his actions are many. He is the forgiver, the provider, the king, and the loving, all at the exact same time.
Precisely. Learning the names is a tool. It is a way for humans to build a real, close relationship with a God they cannot see with their eyes.
So now that we know his names and his character, let's talk about why we are here. Why did he make us? What are we supposed to do on this earth for 80 or 90 years?
This brings us to a major idea in our stack of sources, the relationship between the creator, the creation, and the daily rules of life.
Let's start with the creator. One of the 99 names is Al-Khaliq. This translates to the creator.
Yes. Islam teaches that Allah made absolutely everything. He made the burning stars, the green trees, the wild animals, and the human beings.
All of it.
And a very important point. He did not make them by accident. He did not make the universe just to play a game. He made everything with a careful, serious plan.
So if he made humans with a careful plan, what is our job? The children's book we read makes it very simple. It says the main purpose of human life is to know Allah, to thank him, and to worship him.
That is the core message of the religion. Humans are put on earth to recognize who made them and to build a relationship with him.
And how do they do that?
Well, they do not just sit and think. They have to take action. They follow a system called the 5 pillars.
The 5 pillars. You know, I really love this visual idea. Think of a big, beautiful building.
Okay.
A pillar is a strong stone post that holds up the roof. If you have 5 strong pillars, the building is safe. But if you take away the pillars, the heavy roof falls down and the building is destroyed.
That is right.
So the 5 pillars of Islam are the 5 strong rules that hold up the whole religion in a person's heart.
That is a perfect mental picture. Let us explore each of these 5 pillars in very simple, clear English for you. The first pillar is the doorway to the building. It is called the Shahada.
The Shahada. This is the promise, right?
Yes, it is the declaration of faith. It is a very short sentence. A person must say it out loud with their mouth, and they must truly believe it in their heart.
What is the sentence?
The sentence is, there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger.
So it has 2 parts. First, you promise that you will only worship the one creator.
Yes.
And second, you promise that you will follow the human teacher, Muhammad, who brought the message.
Exactly. This sentence is the key to the door. If you say this and believe it, you are a Muslim. Everything else starts from here.
Okay, pillar number 1 is the promise. What is pillar number 2?
Pillar number 2 is Salah. This means formal prayer. Muslims are required to pray 5 times every single day.
Wait, let me push back on this. Praying 5 times a day. To a modern person living in a busy city, that sounds less like peace and more like a heavy burden.
It can sound like a lot.
I mean, imagine you are working a hard job, or you are at school studying for a test, or you are sleeping. You have to stop everything you are doing and pray. Why so often?
Because human beings forget things very easily. We get very busy. We worry about our jobs. We worry about our phones. We worry about money and what people think of us.
That is very true.
We get completely lost in the small, silly things of the world. The sources say that 5 times a day, you must hit a pause button.
So it is like an alarm clock for your soul.
Yes. You stop working. You go to a quiet place. You wash your hands, your face, and your feet with clean water.
Why the washing?
This physical washing helps clean your mind. Then you stand, you bow, and you put your face on the ground. You talk to Allah, you ask for help, and you say thank you.
Putting your face on the floor seems very extreme. Why do they do that?
It is the ultimate physical sign of submission.
How so?
Think about it. The head is the highest part of the human body. It holds your brain, your pride, your beautiful face.
Yeah.
When you put the highest, proudest part of yourself down into the dirt, you are telling the Creator, you are the highest and I am low. I submit my pride to you. It is a very powerful psychological exercise to kill your ego.
Wow. That completely changes how I view the prayer.
Yeah.
It is a medicine for arrogance.
It really is.
Okay, let's move to the third pillar. It is called zakat. This is about money.
Yes. Zakat means giving a specific amount of your saved money to poor people every year. Usually, it is 2.5% of your extra savings.
But wait again, let's look at human logic.
Okay.
If a man works very hard every day, from morning to night, to earn his money, why does he have to give it away? He earned it with his own sweat. It belongs to him.
That is exactly how human logic usually works. We think, I worked hard for this money, so it is mine. But the Islamic sources teach a very different view of wealth.
What do they teach?
They say you did not actually create that wealth by yourself.
What do you mean?
The Creator gave you the physical health to wake up and work. He gave you the brain to think of good ideas. He gave you the time on earth. So the money is not truly yours. It belongs to God. You are just holding it for a short time.
Oh, that changes everything. So you are like a bank manager, not the bank owner. The owner's letting you manage the money.
Exactly. And if the true owner tells you to take a small part of that money and give it to the people who are hungry or sick, you must do it.
That makes sense.
It cleans your heart from being greedy. It reminds you that money is just a tool, not a god.
That is a beautiful rule for society. It keeps money moving to the people who need it most.
Yes, it does.
Okay, pillar number 4 is Psalm. This means fasting.
Yes. Fasting happens once a year during a special holy month called Ramadan. For 1 whole month, Muslims do not eat any food and they do not drink any water from the time the sun comes up in the morning until the sun goes down at night.
Not even water. In the middle of the summer.
Not even a drop.
That sounds dangerous. Or maybe just cruel. Why would God want people to be thirsty all day?
It is very hard, but there are important rules to protect people. If you are sick or traveling or pregnant or very old, you do not have to fast. The Creator does not want to damage your body.
Okay, that is good.
But for healthy people, the difficulty is exactly the point. It teaches 2 huge lessons.
What is the first lesson?
Discipline and self-control. When your stomach is empty and your throat is dry, but you choose not to eat because God is watching, you learn that you are the master of your body.
Your body is not the master of you.
Exactly. Your spirit wakes up.
And what is the second lesson?
Empathy and thankfulness. Think about a rich man who has never been hungry a day in his life. He can buy any fancy food he wants.
Right.
But during this month, he is just as hungry as the poorest man in the city. Suddenly, he understands their pain, he feels what they feel, and when the sun finally sets and he takes that first sip of cold water, he remembers how lucky he is. The water tastes better than gold.
Because you do not appreciate what you have until it is taken away.
Yeah.
That is a heavy, powerful lesson. Okay, the last pillar, number 5, Hajj, the pilgrimage.
Hajj is a massive journey. Once in your lifetime, if you are physically healthy and you have enough money to pay for the trip, you must travel to the holy city of Mecca in Saudi Arabia. Millions of people travel there at the exact same time.
And what do they do when they get there?
They visit the Kaaba, the Black Building, and they pray together. But the most important visual part of the journey is the clothes.
The clothes.
Yes. Every man must take off his normal clothes and wear the exact same simple white cloth, 2 pieces of white cloth wrapped around the body.
Imagine seeing 2 million people from every country in the world all wearing the exact same white cloth.
Yes. A billionaire king, a famous doctor, and a poor farmer all wear the exact same white cloth. You cannot tell who is rich and who is poor. You cannot tell who is powerful. It strips away all the fake human titles. It is like a preview of the end of the world.
A preview of the end of the world. What does that mean?
In Islamic belief, when people die and stand before God to be judged, they will have no money, no fancy suits, and no important job titles. They will just be equal, naked human souls.
Oh, I see.
The Hajj is a practice for that day. It shows that all people are perfectly equal in front of Allah. Only your good actions matter.
So the 5 pillars are really like an amazing schedule for your soul. The prayers are a daily schedule. Fasting is a yearly schedule. And the journey to Makkah is a lifetime schedule.
That is a great way to put it.
It is a full system to keep you connected. It stops you from forgetting the big picture of why you are alive.
That is a wonderful summary. And the sources also talk about what happens after this life is finished, after the schedule is over. They talk about the afterlife.
Right. The sources mention 2 ultimate places, Jannah and hellfire.
Jannah is the Arabic word for paradise or heaven. It is described as a place of ultimate peace, beautiful gardens, and joy. It is a place for good people who tried their best to follow Allah's rules.
And hellfire.
Hellfire is a place of punishment. It is the terrible consequence for people who chose to do evil, who hurt others, and who rejected the truth.
The texts also briefly mention things we cannot see right now, the unseen world happening all around us. They talk about angels and jinn.
Yes. We talked about how humans have free will. We can choose to be good or we can choose to be bad. Angels are completely different. They are beings made of light.
Do they have free will?
No, they do not have free will. They always obey Allah perfectly. They carry out His orders in the universe, like keeping the planets moving or recording human actions.
And what are jinn? Are they like genies in a magic lamp?
No, not like the cartoons. Jinn are another creation made from a smokeless fire. They live on Earth with us, but they exist in a dimension we cannot see.
Do they have free will?
Yes, like humans, they have free will. They can choose to be good believers or they can choose to be bad. The bad jinn are sometimes called shayateen, which means devils or demons. They try to whisper bad ideas into human minds.
Okay, if we step back and connect all of this to the bigger picture, all these rules, the prayers, the fasting, the charity, the belief in the unseen, it seems like a lot of rules.
It is a lot of rules.
But it seems like it is all designed to bring a deep sense of order to a person's life.
This raises an important point about the name of the religion itself. The word Islam comes from ancient Arabic root words that mean 2 things: peace and submission.
Peace and submission.
Yes. Submission means willingly giving up your own ego and following Allah's rules. The core philosophy is that you can only find true inner peace when you stop fighting the universe and start following the rules of the Creator.
Let me use an analogy here. It is like buying a brand new, very expensive car.
Okay.
If you want the car to run smoothly and peacefully, you have to read the manual written by the maker of the car. The maker says, put oil in the engine, put gas in the tank.
Right.
If you say, no, I am free, I will put water in the gas tank, the car will break down, you will ruin it. Islam is saying, follow the manual from the maker, and your human engine will run with peace.
A very practical and accurate analogy. Now, because humans have a hard time understanding a God they cannot see, and because they do not always want to read the manual, they sometimes make very big mistakes in how they think about Him.
They use human logic for a divine being.
Yes, they use small human logic for a massive divine being.
This brings us to a very interesting part of our deep dive, clearing up common mistakes. Or we can call it what Allah is not.
Good title.
The article we have from a group of scholars in Nigeria is very helpful here. It lists some big misconceptions. Let's look at mistake number 1. The idea that Allah is everywhere.
This is a very common thought. People look around at nature and say, God is great, so God must be everywhere. He must be in the trees, in the air, in this room, in the sky, and even inside me.
It sounds nice.
Yeah.
It sounds like poetry. But the sources say this is completely wrong. Why is it wrong?
Because the texts ask you to use your logic and think about respect.
Okay, respect.
If God were a physical thing that was mixed into everywhere, that means He would be inside dirty places. He would be inside a trash can. He would be inside the dirt on the bottom of your shoe. He would be inside human bodies, which are full of blood and waste. In Islam, that idea is totally unacceptable. It is an insult to the perfect Creator.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. You cannot mix the pure, perfect Creator with dirty physical things. So where did the text say He actually is?
The texts say He is above His throne. This is a way of saying He is in the highest possible place, completely separate and outside of the physical universe He created.
Well, wait, let me push back here.
Okay.
If He is way up high, far outside the universe, does that mean He is far away from my problems? Is He disconnected from us? Does he know what is happening down here in my small life on earth?
That is the beautiful part of the theology. His physical self is completely separate and high above everything.
Yeah.
But his knowledge, his hearing, and his sight are everywhere.
Oh, his knowledge is everywhere.
Yes. He sees every single thing perfectly. He hears the quietest whisper in a dark room. He knows what you are thinking right now before you even speak.
So, he is not physically sitting next to me on the couch, but he knows exactly what is heavy in my heart.
Exactly. The sources share a famous story from Islamic history to make this rule very clear. It is a story about the Prophet Muhammad and a slave girl.
I really love this story. Let's tell it slowly. A man owned a slave girl, and her daily job was to watch his sheep in the desert.
Yes, she was a shepherd. And one day, a wild wolf came out of nowhere, attacked the flock, and killed one of the sheep.
The man was furious. He lost his temper completely. He was so angry that he walked up to the poor girl and hit her in the face.
But immediately after he hit her, his heart dropped. He felt terrible guilt. He knew he was wrong to hit a human being who was weaker than him.
He made a big mistake.
Yes, he wanted to do a very big good deed to erase his bad action.
So he decided he wanted to set her free, to let her go and not be a slave anymore.
But he wanted to be sure she was a true believer in the Islamic faith before he freed her. He wanted to know she understood God properly. So he brought her to the Prophet Muhammad to test her faith.
And the Prophet did not give her a long written test. He did not ask her 100 difficult questions.
No, just one.
He just asked her one very simple question. He looked at her and asked, "Where is Allah?"
Now, if the girl had said, "He is everywhere," or "He is here in this room with us," she would have been wrong.
Right.
But she didn't say that. She simply raised her hand, pointed her finger up to the sky, and said, "Above heaven."
And the Prophet was happy with her answer. He turned to the angry man and said, "Free her. She is a true believer."
This story is used by religious teachers to prove that God is not physically mixed into the dirt and air of the earth. He is high above, separate from the creation, but he watches everything.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's move to mistake number 2 from our Nigerian source. The idea that our bad choices hurt Allah. Sometimes people think if they sin, if they do something bad, they are making God sad or physically hurting him.
The sources say this is completely backward. Remember the word from the short chapter we talked about?
Yes, Ahmad.
He needs nothing. Exactly. He is completely free of needs. If you do something bad, you cannot hurt God. He is too great, too massive to be harmed by a tiny human.
So if I cannot hurt God, who gets hurt when I do something bad?
We hurt ourselves. If you lie or steal or act badly, you put dark spots on your own soul. You hurt other people in your community. You risk facing terrible consequences in the afterlife.
But God is not hurt.
No. Let me use an analogy to explain God's kingdom. Imagine the biggest ocean in the world.
Okay, I am imagining a massive, deep blue ocean.
If you take a cup and pour one drop of water into the ocean, does the ocean get bigger?
No, it's too big.
If you take one drop out, does it get smaller?
No.
The texts say that if every human on earth was perfectly good, it would not add a single drop to God's kingdom. And if every human was perfectly evil, it would not take a single drop away. He is already perfect.
Wow. That is a very different way of looking at it. God is not a human parent who cries when the child is bad. God is totally above that. Which brings us to mistake number 3. Allah becomes a human.
This is a very important point, maybe the most important dividing line in Islamic theology. The creator never, ever becomes the creation. They are kept completely separate forever.
Why is it so important to keep them separate?
Because humans are fundamentally weak. Humans get tired, they get hungry, they get sick with viruses, they feel pain. Eventually, they die. Allah does not get tired, he does not sleep, he never dies. If you say God became a human being, you are saying God became weak and imperfect. You are saying God had to use the bathroom. In Islam, that is impossible and highly disrespectful.
Let me use an analogy from the text we read to make this super clear. The bicycle analogy.
Please do, it is a very clear example.
Imagine a smart man working in a shop. He takes pieces of metal and rubber and wire, and he builds a beautiful bicycle. He is the creator of the bicycle.
Yeah.
The bicycle is the creation.
Okay.
Now, can the man ever become the bicycle? Can he turn into metal tubes and rubber tires?
Of course not.
No, that is silly. The creator and the creation are totally different things. They have totally different natures.
That is exactly how Islam views God and the universe. God made the universe, but God is not the universe. God made human beings, but God can never be a human being. The maker is always separate from what he makes.
This strict separation brings us to the most important part of today's deep dive. Everything we have talked about so far, the beautiful names, the 5 pillars, the mistakes to avoid, they all point to one central rule.
The biggest rule.
It is the biggest rule of the entire Islamic faith. It is an Arabic word called tawhid.
Tawhid. If you are listening today and you forget everything else we say, but you remember only one word, it should be tawhid.
So what does it mean? Let's break it down into simple English.
Tawhid means making one. It is the absolute unbreakable belief that God is completely one. He is entirely unique. He has no partners. He has no equals. He has no helpers. He does everything alone.
It is the ultimate expression of monotheism. Monotheism means believing in one God. Tawhid takes that idea and makes it extremely strict.
Yes. And to truly understand Tawhid, you have to understand its dark opposite. You have to know it breaks the rule. The opposite of Tawhid is a word called shirk.
Sure. What does that mean?
Shirk means sharing. It means sharing God's special place with something else. It is giving God's power or God's names or your worship to a created thing.
So it is a sin.
The sources say that shirk is the biggest mistake a person can make. It is the worst sin in Islam because it destroys the core foundation of the religion.
So if you pray to a statue made of wood, you are sharing God's right to be worshipped with a piece of a tree. That is shirk.
Exactly. Or if you believe that a special holy person or a king has the magic power to control the universe or forgive your sins, you are giving God's power to a human. That is also shirk.
But the texts also talk about something much more sneaky. They call it hidden shirk. What is that?
Hidden shirk is very interesting and very dangerous. It is not about statues or kings. It is about your own mind and your own heart. It is about why you do things.
Give me an example.
Let's say you decide to give a large amount of money to help build a hospital for the poor.
Okay. That is a great thing to do. That is charity. That is good.
Yes, the action is good. But ask yourself, why did you do it? Did you do it secretly because the Creator asked you to help the poor? Or did you do it loudly because you wanted your neighbors to see you? Did you want people to point at you in the street and say, wow, look at him. He is so rich and so kind. What a great man.
Wait, let me stop you there. This makes me a bit uncomfortable. If I give $50,000 to build a hospital and it saves lives, but I feel a little bit of pride in my chest because my friends see my name on the building, does that mean my good deed is suddenly a terrible sin?
It is complicated.
That seems like an impossible standard for human beings. We all have egos. We all like to be praised.
You are right to push back on that. It is a very high, very difficult standard. And it is exactly why the sources say the human heart is like a constant battlefield. The texts say that physically giving the money is easy, but keeping your intention pure is the hardest work in the world.
So why is it called hidden shirk?
Because if you do the good thing just to get applause from humans, you have made those humans into little gods.
Oh.
You are worshiping their clapping hands. You are sharing your worship. Half of your heart wants to please God, but the other half wants to please the audience.
Wow. So I am sharing my worship with my own ego. It is not a statue of stone in the desert. It is a statue of my own pride inside my mind. That requires so much self-control and honesty.
Yes, you must constantly check your heart.
Yeah. Now let's look deeper at the idea of one. We have a beautiful quote in our stack from Ali. He was the 4th caliph, a very important, wise, early leader in Islamic history.
Oh, yes.
He explained what it actually means to say God is one.
I really like how he breaks this down. He said there are 2 wrong ways to understand the word one and 2 right ways. Let's do the 2 wrong ways first.
The first wrong way is to think of one like a number.
Like in math.
Like counting. 1, 2, 3. Why is that wrong? God is one, isn't he?
Yes, but numbers belong to math. Math is a creation. If something is a number 1, you can add another 1 to it and get 2. You can divide the number 1 into halves. Numbers can be changed, multiplied, and broken. God cannot be added to or broken. He is not a math equation.
Okay, that makes sense. What is the second wrong way?
The second wrong way is to think of one like a species or a category. For example, if I point to the street and say, look at that one dog, the dog is one, yes, but there are millions of other dogs in the world that look just like him.
Right.
He is one member of a large group. God is not one member of a group of gods. There is no category.
So God is not a number and God is not part of a group. What are the 2 right ways to understand one?
The first right way is to say he is one because nothing else in the universe is like him. He is totally unique. If you try to compare him to anything, you fail.
And the second right way?
The second right way is to say he is one because he cannot be divided into parts. He is solid, complete, and indivisible. You cannot have a piece of Allah. You cannot have a 50% God.
What's fascinating here is the logic behind this. Let's ask a big question. Why can't there be two gods? Why is Tawhid so incredibly strict?
It is a good question.
I mean, humans work better in teams, right? Two people can build a house much faster than one person. Why couldn't two powerful gods run the universe together as a team?
The Islamic sources use pure, simple logic from the Quran to answer this exact question. The logic is, if there were two gods, they would eventually disagree. And if they disagree, they fight.
They would fight, like an argument.
Yes. Imagine two gods, both with absolute unlimited power. One god looks at a farm on Earth and says, "The crops are very dry today. I want it to rain heavily."
Okay.
The other god looks at the exact same farm and says, "The farmers are working outside today. I want it to be bright, warm sunshine." What happens?
Well, they can't both have their way at the exact same time in the exact same place. If it rains, the sunshine god loses the argument. If it is sunny, the rain god loses.
Exactly. And a true God cannot lose. If a being can be defeated, even once, it is not all-powerful. It is weak. It is not a god.
So they can't share power.
The Quran says that if there were many gods in the sky, the universe would be a mess. The sky would fall. It would be full of chaos as they fought for power. But when we look at the universe, what do we actually see?
We see perfect order. The sun rises every single morning on time. The planets spin in perfect circles. The seasons change exactly when they are supposed to. Gravity always works.
Yes. The perfect, unbroken order of nature proves there is only one mind making the rules. There is only one captain steering the ship.
Imagine a large ship on the ocean with two captains. One captain yells to the sailors, "Turn left." The other captain yells, "No, turn right." The sailors wouldn't know what to do. The ship would spin around and crash into the rocks. The universe works perfectly because it only has one captain giving the orders.
A perfect analogy. Knowing this one captain and following his rules is the entire goal of a Muslim's life.
Okay, let's unpack this. If everyone agrees there's only one captain of the ship, do they all agree on everything else? I know humans always find a way to argue.
That is very true. Human beings are diverse. While all Muslims agree on the core rule of Tawhid, that God is absolutely really a scold, different groups of thinkers throughout history have argued about the best way to understand the Creator's descriptions. We can look at three main groups inside Islam.
Let's start with the first group. The sources call them the traditionalists. The Arabic term is the Athari school.
Yeah.
How do they understand Allah?
The traditionalists are very simple and direct. They read the holy book, the Quran. The book says something, they accept it. But they have a special, strict rule. The rule in Arabic is bila kayf. This translates to without asking how.
What does that mean? Give me an example.
Okay. In the Quran, there are certain verses that say God has a hand. Now, when you hear the word hand, what do you picture in your mind?
I picture fingers. I picture skin and bones and a thumb. A human hand.
Exactly. But remember, God is not a human. So the traditionalists say, the book says he has a hand, so we believe he has a hand. But it is not a human hand. We do not know what it is. When we will not try to guess, we just accept it without asking how it works.
So they just accept the mystery. They do not try to solve the puzzle. They just say, God knows best.
Yes. Now, the second group is very different. They are the thinkers. The sources call them the Ash'ari or maturity schools.
What do they do?
The thinkers love to use logic and philosophy. When they read the word hand in the Quran, they say, wait, God is not a body. God is outside of space. So he cannot have a physical hand. That is impossible. They say the word hand is just a symbol. It is a metaphor.
So what does it really mean to them?
They say hand really just means power or blessing. So if the book says God's hand is over them, it just means God's power is protecting them.
I see. The thinkers want everything to make perfect logical sense.
Very much so. They focus heavily on the idea that Allah is completely outside of time and space. Time is a creation. Space is a creation. Therefore, God does not have a past. He does not have a future. He just is. He is not sitting in a physical location because physical locations are things he created.
Okay, so group 1 accepts the mystery. Group 2 uses logic to explain the text. What about group 3? The sources call them the mystics or the Sufis.
The Sufis are less interested in arguing about logic or reading heavy philosophy books. They focus almost entirely on the heart. They want to feel the presence of God. Their goal is to clean their hearts from bad feelings so they can experience God's love.
There is a story in our sources about a famous Sufi woman. It is a very surprising, almost shocking story.
Yes. The story says she was seen running quickly through the streets of her city. She had a bucket of cold water in one hand and a burning stick of fire in her other hand.
And the people on the street asked her, What are you doing? Have you gone crazy?
She answered them, I want to pour this water on the fires of hell to put them out, and I want to use this fire to burn down paradise.
Wait, why would a deeply religious person want to destroy heaven and hell? That sounds terrible.
It was a powerful lesson. She said she wanted to destroy them so that people would stop worshiping God just because they are afraid of the fire. And she wanted to stop people from worshiping God just because they want the reward of a beautiful garden. She wanted people to worship the Creator simply because He is beautiful and He deserves to be loved, not for a reward.
That is incredible. She didn't want a business deal with God. She didn't want to say, I will pray and you pay me with a garden. She just wanted pure, unconditional love.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, why do these three different views exist? It is because humans are trying to understand something infinite. We have small, limited brains. We are trying to understand a limitless God. Whether a person uses strict reading or deep logic or pure emotional love, the goal is exactly the same, trying to understand the One.
I love that. It sounds like everyone agrees on who the captain is, but they argue about the best way to describe the captain's face or the captain's style.
That is a very accurate way to put it. They agree on the strong foundation, but differ on the small details.
Now, we also have a source in our stack from outside of Islam. It is a Christian text comparing the God of the Bible to the Islamic view of Allah.
Yes, let's look at that.
But before we discuss this, I want to say something very clearly to you, our listener. We are not taking sides here. We're not saying one religion is right and the other is wrong. Our job today is just to act like reporters. We are just telling you exactly what the texts say about the differences.
Yes. It is very helpful to look at comparative views. Looking at two different things side by side helps us see the unique shape of each religion much more clearly.
The Christian article lists several big differences using very simple language. Let's walk through them slowly. The first big difference is about family. The Christian source says God has a son, Jesus.
Yes, this is a central core part of Christian belief. But as we learn from the short chapter in the Quran, Surah Al-Ikhlas, the Islamic source says Allah does not have children, He's not a father, and He has no son. In Islam, Jesus is a human being. He is considered a very great, powerful messenger and a highly respected prophet who performed miracles, but He is not divine. He is not God.
Okay, so difference number one is about who Jesus is. Difference number two is about how a person is saved. How do they get to heaven? The Christian source says salvation is a free gift of grace. You just have to believe in Jesus and the gift of heaven is given to you.
This is a massive difference in the rules. The Islamic source says belief in your heart is the first step, yes. But humans must also do good work. You must try hard. You must pray, give charity, fast, and do good deeds to earn Allah's mercy. You cannot just believe and do nothing. You must act.
This brings up a good question. Why is there a difference? Why does Islam focus so much on human action and personal responsibility?
It goes right back to that big rule, Tawhid, the absolute oneness of God. Because God is completely alone in His power, there is no divine savior who can carry your mistakes for you. Every single human must stand alone before the Creator and carry the weight of their own choices. Your actions belong to you, and you must answer for them.
Wow. That makes perfect sense logically. If there is no one sharing God's power, there is no one who can step in and save you except God's direct mercy on your own good actions.
Exactly. The pure, simple logic of oneness changes every other rule in the building.
Let's move to the third difference. It is about the holy books. The Christian source says the Bible is the true, perfect Word of God.
And the Islamic source says the Quran is the final, true Word of God. It is interesting because Muslims actually believe that the original messages given to Moses and Jesus were completely true, but they believe human beings changed those books over thousands of years. They say humans added things and lost things. So Muslims view the Quran as the final correction, like an updated manual that God promised can never be changed.
And the fourth difference from our source is about what happens in the afterlife. The Christian source says there is no marriage in heaven. People become like angels.
The Islamic source describes paradise very differently. It is described with very physical rewards. There are beautiful gardens, rivers of fresh milk and sweet honey, and people have companions and physical joy. It is a place of complete human happiness, both for the spiritual soul and the physical body.
So returning to our analogies, it is not just arguing about the captain's face. It is two different groups describing two completely different sets of rules for how to run the ship.
Yes, the Christian article makes the clear point that the details are so different, they represent different understandings of who the Creator is and what He wants from humans.
Well, we have covered an enormous amount of ground today. We have read through thousands of years of history. Let's do a quick summary of our deep dive.
We started with the word itself. Allah simply means the one God. The grammar of the word has no plural and no gender. It cannot be broken.
We learned he has 99 beautiful names. We talked about names of soft beauty, like the merciful and the forgiving, and names of heavy majesty, like the king and the strong. These names let humans build a relationship with him.
We talked about the Creator and the creation. We learned the 5 pillars, the promise, the daily prayer, giving money to the poor, fasting from food and water, and the big journey to Makkah in white clothes. These are the 5 ways humans follow the manual for peace.
We cleared up some big mistakes. Allah is not physically hiding in dirty places everywhere. He does not need anything from us, so we cannot hurt him. And he never becomes a weak, tired human being.
We explored the biggest, most important rule of all Tawheed, the absolute oneness of God, and its terrible opposite, shirk, which is sharing God's place, even with your own ego.
And finally, we looked at different views. We saw how traditionalists, thinkers, and mystics approach the mystery of God, and we compared the Islamic rules to the Christian rules.
It is a massive amount of dig information, but it all comes back to that one simple, clean filter. God is one, unique, perfect, and completely separate from his creation.
Before we say goodbye today, we always like to leave you with one final provocative thought. Something for you to think about on your own after you finish listening.
Yes. There was a beautiful idea hidden in the sources that we didn't fully discuss. The texts mention that everything in the physical universe, the burning stars, the green plants, the brushing rivers, even the wild animals, is considered Muslim in a very basic, natural way.
Wait, a tree is Muslim? How does that work? Does a tree pray?
Remember what the word Islam means. It means to submit, to willingly follow the rules of the Creator. A tree naturally submits to the laws Allah made for it. It grows its leaves towards the warm sun. A star follows the heavy rule of gravity. A river naturally flows down the mountain to the sea. They do not argue. They are perfectly following the rules of their maker.
So because they do exactly what they were made to do, they are in a state of perfect, peaceful submission.
Exactly. So here is my question for you, the listener. Look outside your window today. Look at a single falling leaf or a bird flying high in the sky. If that leaf or that bird is actually performing a form of silent praise or submission to a single creator just by existing, how does that change the way you see nature?
That is a beautiful, heavy thought. Does the world suddenly feel like it is speaking a silent, secret language you just haven't learned to hear yet?
Think about that the next time you walk outside and look up at the stars at night, or look at a painting and wonder about the true painter.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope we helped you unpack this massive mystery using clear, simple words. Keep learning, keep asking big questions, and stay curious. See you next time.